EGX Rezzed is long done and in the books. As someone who came into it having not been at an EGX event in 6 years, and my first Rezzed event ever, it was legitimately a wonderful time. If you want to see your boy in a sleep deprived state and missing many underground tubes, hit up the video I did showing the first day of the show. Well, nearly the first day. Needless to say, EGX Rezzed was an event filled to the brim of fantastic indie made games. I'll have 1 or 2 more videos going up over the next few days with previews in addition to my actual job of writing about them. In the meantime, although the games I played at the show were all great, seriously, not one dud among them. They were all great. There was a group of 4 games among them that stood out the most in the show's 3 days. Here are the best games I played at EGX Rezzed, and yes, there will be an overall game show at the end.
Get ready!
Guntastic harks back to the golden era of split-screen multiplayer. In layman's terms, it's a game that is filled with bonkers weapons and bonkers levels to play. It's essentially a bonkers fun game. 4 players play rounds that last up to a minute long that could actually end in less time than that. First person to win the match at number of 10 rounds wins the entire match. But it's also a very nuanced game too. For instance, it's 1 shot, 1 kill. Guntastic does allow the option to play online with 3 other players, but by what I played of it in London, local is arguably the best way to play. The game comes out on Steam in early access later this year, but when speaking to its developers, other platforms, no, not currently in the short-term pipeline, are a possibility. That includes a certain platform that can switch. That would be easily perfect for a game like Guntastic.
I warned you like 18 times. You'll get your stomach back when you learn to behave. Sam, hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Horny in there?
Fornius, yeah, he's fiddling with his somewhere. All the kids with you?
Yeah, they're cute, right? I'm playing tour guide on my coffee break.
Coming off its incredible first effort in 2016's incredible Oxenfree, a game that, had I played earlier, would easily have been in my top 10 games the year it came out, Night School Studio returns with such a dramatic shift in tone with After Party. Switching from teen horror to comedy can be a jarring shift, but somehow After Party pulls it off. The 20-minute demo I played was filled to the brim with some amazing pot shots of comedy, brilliant humour, and actual moments of out loud laughter, as your characters Lola and Milo attempt to find their way out of hell after dying by out drinking Satan. You know, 666 himself, the devil. But what Night School Studio does keep over from Oxenfree is the narrative credit it built up in that time. It's still the same choice-driven narrative system from that particular game, all the way to how it's designed, but why fix what isn't broken? And a lot of the art design is still reminiscent to Oxenfree, but again, why fix what isn't broken? If anything, it adds to the charm and is a signature aspect of Night School Studios games. When After Party comes out later this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch and PC via the Epic Games Store, I only had 2 questions after playing it. Just how sassy is Ashley Burch's character in the final game?
I know, sometimes you kids like to play at the shore, but you sink fast.
And can Satan hold his liquor better than the entire drinking population of Northern and Southern Ireland combined?
Oh my god, Lola, we're dead! We're f***ing dead and there's a god! There's a god and we're dead. Jesus Christ, Lola! Holy
Speaking of, what do you get after 3 tiring days of covering games and showing a game to attendees respectively, when 3 Irish folks from Monaghan, Strabane and Derry gather around a small spot in the corner of the technical zone and share war stories? You get Terry Kavanagh, Neve Chipsell Houston, and me. And you get us talking about dicey dungeons, Kavanagh's next game that left me with a mix of fascination and delight after playing it. Dicey Dungeons, with Kavanagh at the helm, with Chipsell handling the music and sound duties, and fellow Irish person Marlo Dobe handling art design, has its motif in classic TV shows. Think Michael Barrymore's Strike It Rich.
So we go.
Jeopardy. Winning streak, to continue the Irish anecdote. The public-facing TV shows of the 90s that would pull in millions during prime time at 8 or 9 o'clock, but revolves around the gameplay loop of a roguelite RPG dungeon crawler using turn-based combat with dice. That's Dicey Dungeons. The player has the ability to play as dice. Seriously. But the kicker is each dice has their own different playstyle. The 2 sets of dice I played at the show, one featured entirely of traditional dice rolls, but the other was comprised of blackjack. Be lucky, and if you hit 11, you've done well. Go above and you go bust and miss the remainder of your turn. Dicey Dungeons is actually in early access right now on PC, with a full release happening very soon. But as someone who played it for the first time at Rezzed, I'm definitely in for the full experience. And with Kavanagh's quality for past games like VVV and Super Hexagon, you know it'll be just as addictive to play as those games.
Surprise, buttface!
Do try not to die while action items remain unticked.
What do you get when you mix immersive sims like Bioshock or System Shock 2, XCOM, and perhaps a slight mix of FTL, and the art design of comic books? You get the bastard child, ha! I'm funny, of them all, and get Void Bastards. I spoke to art director Ben Lee at the show about the game and its design influences, and I'm hoping that'll be out somewhere for everyone to read about, because I have to write about something rather than do something entirely video based. But the one thing that really stuck out playing the game, with Lee advising me and watching me with near Hawkeye levels, near throughout, was just how brilliantly the influences I mentioned just mesh together, and how the game still feels wholly original. If you die, it's not necessarily game over. Rather, you start over as a new character, but any experience you've gained from your past characters carries over to the new one as you encounter randomly generated, slightly roguelike levels each time you play. Void Bastards drops on PC and Xbox One later this year, and I am all in for it. So there you have it. 4 games that were legit standouts at this year's show. But for me, there was one game that stood out. There was one game that stood out above all the others. A game that was legitimately impressive. Ah! What the hell is wrong with you? Ow! Stop it! Okay, if I mention it, will you leave me alone? Just stop. Okay, just stop. If I mention it, alright. Game show, right? Okay. Ah! What the hell is that for? Asshole. Untitled Goose Game is stupid, idiotic, moronic. What other analogies you can think of to describe it in similar context, it's that. Basically, Untitled Goose Game is utterly dumb. And I absolutely love it so much. What I got to play of it at EGX Rezzed was painfully short, even for 10 minutes. But the one thing that sticks out to me even now, a week and a half after playing, is the cat and mouse battle I had with the gardener over his set of keys. There was a checklist of things to do that was given to me in the demo that would have been easier to accomplish, but all I wanted to do was get the gardener's keys and lock him out from the garden by using elaborate ways to distract him away from his flower bed. I failed. Untitled Goose Game is charming in every way. From its art design to controlling this asshole of a goose. Would you stop biting me? I just said you were charming. Even its name. To the point I had a passionate debate about it with a well-known UK Twitch streamer about whether the name should be changed or not. It shouldn't. When Untitled Goose Game finally comes out later this year on PC and Nintendo Switch, it was due to hit early this year, but is now due later in 2019 according to developer House, it will still be the oddly idiotic and charming game that made people fall in love with it when it was first shown. That goose is still a dickhead though. Right, that's it. Get out.